these rocks over here have effectively closed this mine up. But there's mines like this all over the state. Even if you find one you can get into, it's probably not a good idea. Helena police dogs have traditionally had specialties. Past canines have been drug dogs, able to sniff out vehicles and help search local schools. As the victim crashed, somewhere out in the middle of the lake here, a group of friends were actually watching from this embankment on the other side. Union members say they think legislators are getting their message. They say being here in numbers today was half of that battle. Although it's across the street from Amanda Polona's house, every time that water level rises, her problems get bigger. By now, most of us have seen this form. It's the census, or as they call it, a snapshot of America. The ghosts of industry and standards past have left this field closed, and while it's hardly a dream for the Babe Ruth League, is the ability to be able to counsel patients on new prescriptions face to face, even though he's hundreds of miles away.
Flooding from area creeks is wreaking havoc on the Helena Valley today. Beartooth NBC's Ryan Whalen joins us live in the studio with the latest. Ryan.
Melissa, it started about 8 o'clock this morning with water spilling over a dike on top of the Ash Grove Cement Dam, sending a surge of water into Prickly Pear Creek. Local agencies, volunteers, and homeowners worked together today to protect property and public safety. Tuesday morning, Frederick Ma IV got a phone call from his wife that the irrigation trench in front of their home on Shar Court was flooding.
It was about a foot from the top. She called me at work, and I said, okay, keep me informed. 5 minutes later, she calls me and says it's going over.
Ma rushed home and saw water spilling into his property and his neighbors.
Just kind of scary when you see that much water coming through, and we've never experienced something like this.
One of the issues was debris clogging the works, not allowing the heavy amount of water to run its usual course.
Believe it or not, there's probably 80 foot by at least 10 to 12 foot deep culvert right here directly behind me, and that filled up, and then by the time I got here from work, it was just going on the road.
The trench is connected to Prickly Pear Creek. Water overflowed the banks of the creek, turning lawns and parks in East Helena into ponds.
This is pretty unusual as far as this time of year. We haven't had a big flood event like this in a long time, probably since '81.
Agencies from all over were called on to help, including the Sheriff's Office, Lewis and Clark County Public Works, and the East Helena Police. County commissioners issued a flood emergency. This allowed the county to hand out free sandbags at several sites throughout the valley. 6 homeowners on Shar Court, including Frederick Ma, were asked to evacuate, although they didn't.
Evacuations are mandatory unless people are unable to care for themselves. An evacuation order simply means that it would be in your best interest to evacuate.
As part of the volunteer fire department, Ma says he felt comfortable staying. He says he's grateful for the volunteers helping him and his wife.
You know it can happen, and you just pray that it doesn't. When it does, I got a great group of guys that are ready to drop everything for me.
Staff Sergeant Bob Shear is on his 3rd mission overseas and 2nd to Iraq.
Never gets easier.
Others are making their first trip to the war zone.
And I know it'll be a long year over there, and I'll be missing home quite a bit and looking forward to getting back.
That's my first time. Kind of nervous, kind of excited at the same time.
Their mission to aid fellow soldiers when injured.
If a soldier on the ground is injured for any reason, we'll fly to that location, pick that soldier up, and fly him to a hospital as soon as possible.
Shear says this will be different than his last stint after the invasion.
I don't think it'll be as dangerous and hostile as it was before, so it won't be as dangerous, I don't think, at all.
But it will be different in another way for his daughter, who was much younger last time he left.
I get what's going on now, so it's a lot more painful than it was the first time.
And when you're gone, look straight ahead. We'll take care of your families.
Family members say it's bittersweet as they proudly watch their loved ones off to war, but realize they'll be without them for a year.
I expect to be lonely, I expect to be afraid, but I'm going to stand by him as much as I can and take care of things here while he's there so he doesn't have to worry about what's going on.
It's an adventure for him, and we just support him 100%. And I don't know, the hard part's gonna be not seeing him.
Friends and family wave goodbye from the tarmac. These National Guard will first go to Fort Hood, Texas, and then off to Iraq. In Helena, Ryan Whalen, Beartooth NBC.
In the final installment of a Beartooth NBC special report, Ryan Whalen sees how former canine Chase and his handler are dealing with retirement.
He still gets excited, he still wants to go, but he doesn't realize that he can't he can't go anymore.
The routine used to be simple for Chase. His handler Gary Herbst got dressed for work, then they both got in the car to go fight crime. Herbst tries not to let Chase see him in his uniform anymore.
We were a team. Well, we still are, just not at work. Now we are here, so, but it's hard.
A herniated disc in his neck threatened Chase's life, and while he's recovering now, it's not safe for him to work. It does give him time for dog stuff like riding in the truck and playing with toys.
He didn't do a lot of that stuff before. He was a working dog then, so he really about the only time he left the house is when we went to work.
Meanwhile, Officer Herbst has gained a pet, but he's lost a partner. He doesn't know who that's harder on.
Maybe for him, because I understand why he can't go to work, but he doesn't understand why he can't go to work. So I don't know. Maybe it's harder. Maybe it's harder for me. It's yeah, probably me.
Officer Herbst says given the opportunity, he'd like to train another dog. He says it won't be the easiest thing in the world for this guy, but in the end, he'll be okay with it.
Not being able to go to work, and seeing another dog or go to work with me, I'm sure that'll be hard on him, and it'd be hard on me too. But it's something that I think over time he'll slowly start to get used to this.
Herbst says Helena Police Chief Troy McGee has some hard decisions to make, but if McGee decides to get another dog, he should be at the top of the list.
I could train a dog myself, and be able to, start working the street in no time with him, which would save the department quite a bit of money.
But for now, he's thankful to have Chase around as a pet.
He's so used to me and I'm so used to him that, I don't think either one of us would do real good if we weren't around each other.
In Helena, Ryan Whalen, Beartooth NBC.